Welcome to another episode of the Pep Coach podcast. We've got another big bunch of questions to go through. I know last week we got through heaps,
We did.
which was really, really good. Especially coming off the back of obviously, reviewing most of the shows and talking about the season itself. Coming now into this point where we're between season, it's really good because we get a lot of questions. Some of them are reverse diet related, some of them are comp prep related, so we can dig through them.
Yeah, and even some of them are industry related.
Yeah.
Just, I like to just, when there's no structure to them,
Yeah.
I like when they just go all over the place. Because it's
Yeah.
like, I don't need everything to be in sequence. You
Well-
probably like things a little more organised and in sequence, but
To be honest, I haven't put these in any particular order.
this
So
will be fun. This is
we'll
my,
just-
my kind of episode then.
I'm just going to go through them as they are.
Scotty Morrell is sitting somewhere in Greece going, well,
He's enjoying himself.
he's in the UK now.
Yeah, he's in the UK now. Yeah. He's having a good time. So it's
Deserved.
good. He definitely deserves it. All right. How you feeling? You were sick last week.
Man, I think everybody that I've spoken to in the last 2 weeks has either been sick or someone in their family has been sick with just like that cold, a little bit of a cough, whatever virus is going around at the moment. Talia got it. She was terrible from sort of last Saturday, Sunday, passed it on to me, and then I'm probably 2 days behind me. So you can probably hear it, but I feel totally fine now. I'm definitely like in the back end of it. But it rocked me on the weekend. Came in here and had to cancel every session.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I got up. I'm like, nah, shower, get in there. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Got here. I was like, oh, I feel good.
No good.
Whereas I just sat in my office, man, for a few hours and tried to catch up on admin stuff. And
So did someone else take those sessions, or they just didn't come in?
no, because normally I would get, say, a call to take them for me, but he had sessions already. So
Okay. So what do you do?
it's one of those
Sick.
things. I'm not sick often, so
No, definitely not.
there's no annual leave when you own the business.
No, that's right. There's no sick days here.
There's
for
no
sure.
days, there is no days off. But no, I feel way better. I just sound still a bit shit. But
No,
it's what caffeine's for, my friend.
I know. What have you got there? What are you?
240 milligram double espresso.
Like when you think about, like, I've got the Monster if no one can see it.
It's 160.
So that's 160
And this is 240. It's half the size.
in that little small thing.
But it's also got 15 grams of protein.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So
Have you seen them in stores? So that's Before You Speak, one of the sponsors for NBA. They got these ready to drink coffee cans. What stores are they in? Are they
No,
petrol stations yet?
I think they're going into Woolies.
Oh, they're going to Woolies. Oh, cool. They're super delicious, but they don't make a black one. They've all got milk in them.
Yeah, they're all like delicious.
Delicious.
Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, 15 protein, 173 calories for the can, 240 caffeine.
Yes, it's not a low cal drink. It's not a 0 cal drink.
I'm not a low cal guy.
Definitely not. Aren't you competing in mid-year?
Well, wait and see. How many weeks out am I? That's the question.
Or for the Gold Coast, what is it, 5 weeks now? Also?
Am I doing NBA now?
I don't know. Or maybe doing,
Who knows?
or you could be doing IFBB. They're on the same weekend, but in Sydney.
Who knows?
So, yeah, could be. That's coming around fast.
And I'm excited.
The mid-years, that's coming around
Yeah,
fast.
we've anyone who's doing that mid-year show, you've made a good decision because you're kind of setting, or you're like leading from the front really and pioneering like what is, undoubtedly going to eventually become like a very big and normal season to do. It just makes so much sense. Like once it takes off, why would you not, like you can start your diet after New Year's basically and still compete.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will jump on board with it. And then you've got everybody who did season A who, maybe, as you said in that post, which was awesome, narrowly missed out, is going to bridge and keep going for a little bit longer with a little bit of a break. It makes sense to do that. Or for a lot of people, just that warm up before getting into season C. So it's the gaps aren't big.
No, they're
Gaps
like
aren't big.
7 weeks either side or 6 weeks either side of the season. I'm really, really curious to gather that data to know who does the show. Were they season A people that did B mid-year, or are they people that are warming up for C, or do they dedicate themselves just to mid-year B only? I'm keen to see how it all comes together and it evolves, but we're already getting in a good amount of regos
For this far out. We're already,
far out, because normally everyone just rushes in the last week, but to get the amount of regos that we have for this far out is really, really good.
yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, and I've been a massive advocate of that mid-year.
You were a big pusher. So
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking
do the show, support Michael Trimble.
Yeah.
He went out on a limb. Please support him.
Actually, to be honest, there's so many people that I've seen that are doing season C that are already coming in early. They look absolutely amazing. So if you're someone that's doing C, warm it up in winter, which sounds funny to say, but do a warm-up show in winter. To obviously get all that feedback that you would need from a judging perspective, and also, get all the nerves out of the system. You know how the stage is, because it's going to be the same venues that we use in C, the same Gold Coast venue, Sydney venue, and Melbourne venue. So
also, don't forget there are pro cards in the line. Like, it's not like
I know
it's not a nothing season. It's
not enough.
It's a full season. So
yeah, and yeah, we're the only ones that are doing it as a full season pro cards. Yeah.
Imagine this could very well happen. Imagine you're someone who's so you listen to this now. You're doing C, but you're in shape and you're like, actually, I'm going to listen to what Michael Chimboli said. I'm going to do it, and then you read your pro card with that.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
And it changes your whole week and just do the pro show then. But it's like, what a cool way to finish off the last 7 weeks of, well, a bit longer because you'd have to go to nationals, but the last 11 weeks of your prep, you were going to do a state show, and now you got to do a pro show. That'd be cool.
That's exactly what I had for one of my clients who's doing it. She was penciled in for C. She was coming in early. She's like, what do you think? I was like, if you're ready to push super hard for another, 4 to 5 weeks, we'll get you ready for mid-year. So we're doing mid-year with her, because she also wants to do IFBB. I was like, well, they've got it in the mid-year as well. So now what was going to be C is now come to mid-year. Now, maybe after the mid-year, we might bridge it into C if she wants to continue to go. But if she accomplishes what she wants to accomplish, then it's done. She got her prep is done, and it was really good outcome for her. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to mid-year. But we'll go on to questions.
So true.
All right, no particular order. This is funny. This one came up. How do you navigate going to Italy and Greece for 4 weeks during your reverse? Please give me some tips or a guide that you would give. So 4 weeks, they're going for 4 weeks, and it's during their reverse. They're going to Europe for 4 weeks during their reverse.
Yeah, look, I just think back to the last time I went to Italy, which was pretty much straight after the last show that I did. Remember I did that WFF show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't end well. And like, I was being mindful, but sometimes the options just weren't great.
Yeah.
It also depends on where you're staying. For example, I stayed in a very small town where my dad was born, and there wasn't a supermarket that I could go and get, the things that I would get here in Australia. The simple things to do to alleviate some of that pressure would be to take as many things as you can pack within your weight cap of your bag that are going to help you to make good choices. So, for example, a big bag of protein would be a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I'd take as many microwave bags of, rice and things like cans of tuna, and that's going to help. But when you go out, again, pick things on the menu that potentially aren't going to be of the highest calorie.
Yeah.
And limit alcohol wherever possible, because that's certainly not going to see you for success either. It's not going to be easy.
No.
It's not going to be easy. It depends on who you're traveling with, what the vibe's like, the things that you've organised to go and do. Are you on an island sailing around on a boat? Is it, very alcohol driven? I suppose how the trip is set up will ultimately dictate how hard it's going to be. Taking as much as you can would be my number one piece of advice. And just be mindful that, your metabolism has just been through so much. Potentially you've just dieted for anywhere from 20 to 30 weeks. And that has a trade-off. And coming out of it, it takes longer than 2 or 3 weeks to recover from a 30-week diet. Your body needs time to adapt. And the more controlled you can be, the better you're going to be when you move into your growth phase, the better connection you're going to have to what you're seeing aesthetically in the mirror. And, the rebound's going to be a lot easier for you, but it's going to be challenging.
Yeah, I think access to gym is going to be really, really challenging in Europe, for sure. Like, Scotty was in Mykonos, and he's like,
he's like, I'm not going to train.
I can't train. He's like, the gym that's there is rubbish. Like, what am I going to do? So
I remember I went to a gym in Rome.
Yeah.
Like 2 days after landing, I was just like, I got to find a gym, and I went to a gym, and I just competed, so I was like reasonably lean, and I remember it was just this tiniest little space. Everyone was just looking at me like, the hell is this tall tattoo bastard from Australia, but that was difficult too, man. And that was
gym's gonna be difficult.
like that was Rome, so you know
that's a big city. So
but again, keeping consistent and moving with steps.
Yeah, that should be easy to do, unless it's a relaxing island holiday or something like that. But if you're in Europe, you're probably going to be sightseeing, so you're going to be pretty active and moving. If it's hot, you might not be eating as much as well, and your meal frequency will be less. Like, because if you're out and about moving, you're most likely not going to be around a fridge and a pantry where you can just start to eat a lot of food. And so then when you are eating out, protein options, lower calorie, be careful of the fats, be careful of the carbohydrates.
But
that's what we can really recommend.
Yeah, ultimately, don't get caught on the wheel of like going out, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, eating as much as you can, drinking, waking up in the morning, feeling really upset at yourself, going and doing like crazy amounts of walking and cardio to try and, get yourself back to where you were the previous day, to just do it again that night. If that's the path you're going, just enjoy the holiday.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the holiday, and then, when you get back, it can be dealt with. Like, that's because you don't want to ruin your holiday, from a psychological standpoint, where every day it's like, oh, should I or shouldn't I do this? Like, that's not the whole point of going overseas as well.
That's a great point. Like, I wouldn't do either of the extremes. Yeah. Don't go there and try to stay 100% on track with your diet, train every single day, and you just miss the whole Europe experience. Sure. So, no extremes. Find somewhere in the middle.
Just be mindful and exercise balance and enjoy yourself, and make it about, experience. Like, if it is a food-driven, outing, that you taste a little bit of lots of great things, but you still stop when you feel half full. Like, you don't need to go until you feel sick.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing.
All right, next one. Again, no particular order. Queensland front pose for fitness and sports. Is it front on with one leg out to the side? Yes, that's right. So we do find that different states do have a different preferred.
Yeah, that's not a rule, by the way.
That's not a rule, right?
It's not like if you're in Queensland, you have to do that. You don't.
No. So that's
it just seems it's over the past that's been preference in that.
Yeah, and the reason is because sports and fitness is an Australian thing, so there's no international standard. Whereas like bikini for NBA, we've picked the international standard. IFB run that as well. But when you've got ICN, where different states prefer different things, and if people are used to competing in that federation, then when they come into NBA, they think they need to do it that way because Queensland ICN like it that way. We don't mind how you do it. Just make sure you pick the one that best suits your physique. So if that front pose doesn't suit your physique and more of a side on, let's call it bikini style front pose is better for you, then do that. But yeah, we do find that Queensland and WA, they have that kind of front pose.
Yeah. I think the point of it is they're trying to maybe exaggerate a little bit more quad development than glute development.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if your quads were better than your glutes as a fitness or sports competitor, posing that way may enhance your physique. But if you're somebody with incredible glute projection, I would probably pose with the traditional pose for me. So it just depends on where your strength's like. You're not going to be marked down if you go either way. Present what is your best. But it's not a rule. If you're in Queensland and you're listening to this, you don't have to do the pose that way.
No. Yeah.
But if it works for you, you can do the pose that way.
100%.
So.
Yeah. How do some people go into a build phase and still have defined abs? I just get fat. Some people, I call it like having the ideal Instagram body, where they just, all their body fat is more so like on their glutes and their abs just stay super lean. So when they've got like, when they've got leggings on and things like that, they take photos in the gym, their abs look still defined and their glutes look nice and round. So there's some people that just deposit fat in different areas. I don't think that they are, well, maybe there are some people that are staying too lean for just an aesthetic reason and not really for a reason to build and doing a proper improvement season. But there's some people that just deposit fat in different areas.
Yeah, you're on the money. Unfortunately, you just can't pick where it goes. Even for me, like, I might look like I always have abs, but like if I push a growth phase, they absolutely do go. And I store a lot of fat through my chest and through my belly as well. My legs have always got veins all year round.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'll give you an example. My client Ash, who just did IFBB, she's a weapon. I reckon Ash's off-season physique, because of how, you know, her body stores composition. Ash has always got a tight midsection and abs,
Yes.
and she stores, you know, some of her body fat through her glutes. So if Ash is in a pair of shorts, she's just looks like she's got the best and biggest glutes. Even though when she's shredded, she's also got great glutes. But like in her off-season, she just looks so elite, right? And that's just genetics, right? It's just the way it is. So, like, again, everybody's different. We probably all want what we don't have.
Yeah.
You know, there's an element to me, like, I'll use another example, Cole, who's my business partner here. I feel like he looks at food and looks at the weights and he grows tissue. Like, he's just such a hyper responder to growth. And me, on the other hand, it's like I can get lean in 3 weeks. You know, I can have a six-pack in 3 weeks, but for me to put on quality tissue, I have to overeat for a long period of time, like years on end.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, a lot of the time I just don't go that far because, you know, I find it really, really difficult. But again, I'm sure Cole has days where he's like, fuck, what I would do for some abs. And there's days I look at his arms and I'm like, that's the size of my quad. So just no, we all do what we can't have. But yeah, genetically, people definitely just store differently, and that's just always going to be the case. Yeah.
I'm 6 weeks post-comp and I'm sad about how chubby I look. If I'm competing again next year, should I have reversed slower and avoided putting on too much body fat and do more of a lean build? I'm also doing a mini cut to clean up because, and is that a bad idea? So they're 6 weeks post-comp.
Yeah.
They're feeling chubby.
Yeah.
And they gonna do a mini cut.
Yeah.
And then also then they're asking the question as well, is next time should they do a slower reverse?
Yeah. So let's do the big problem first. Doing a mini cut 6 weeks into your reverse, you're still in it.
Yeah.
Is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Because your body's just starting to maybe feel some of the recoverability that has, you know, now come from putting on that little bit of weight, right? And the only thing that attenuates a lot of the downregulation that you feel through that prolonged dieting phase ultimately is putting some of that fat mass back on. So what you're doing now is you've put some fat mass back on, your body's starting to feel safe again. You're not recovered yet, but you're starting to feel recovered. And by now doing a mini cut, you're just sending yourself back where you were 6 weeks. The only difference is it's going to be worse.
Yeah, you're in a worse metabolic position.
You're in a worse position because, yeah, you've now got this body fat on you, and you're not going to be able to pull it off like you did.
No, you don't have the same engine anymore.
Yeah. So definitely don't do a mini cut. Like, please don't do a mini cut. Try and slow that rate of gain down now. Let's just say if you're a female competitor who competed at 50 kilos and now you're sitting at 58, right? And you're at 60 and you're 6 weeks post-show, and maybe you and your coach had your projected weight at 55, 10% above stage weight, and you're maybe double that. One thing I would assess first is, how are you feeling? Do you feel like you've achieved things like, you know, is food drive still high? Mm-hmm. Where's your energy at? How's your sleep? Where's your libido? If all those things still aren't great, you probably still haven't even put on enough fat mass, potentially. Or you haven't sat at that weight for long enough. Maybe you don't need to put on any more weight, but you need to sit at that weight for another 4 to 6 weeks.
Correct. Yeah.
I would say don't even begin to make any decisions on anything from a changing body fat perspective till you hit at least the 16-week mark at a bare minimum. Even then, that's not enough time.
Yeah.
But like, you're a long way away from even being fully recovered. You need to spend at least 3 to 4 more months in the current weight/composition that you're at before you're even close to any sort of recoverability or metabolic adaptation.
Yeah. And I know you might talk yourself into it, say that I could go into a mini cut and I'll be adherent, but trust me, after being in a comp prep for so long and you try to then go back into a restrictive phase, you'll find that you just can't cope with it.
And also the show isn't there anymore.
Yeah. It's hard.
So when that show goal's gone too, and there's nothing to keep you accountable anymore except for the fact that you're not happy with the way that you look.
Yeah, it's not enough.
And then you just, and they're the things that lead to, you know, bad food relationships, binging episodes. They're the sort of things that lead to that. It's trying to get yourself out of a problem that in reality you just need to sit in the problem for a little bit longer.
Yeah. So the recommendation there is don't mini cut, slow the rate of gain down. If not, try to sit where you're at the moment for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
and then reassess. As we said, a minimum 16 weeks. I'm pretty much saying, you're not going any other direction except for up for 16 weeks.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, think about it like this. I'll give you something to utilize to try and help your connection to where you're at the moment be better. All right. What I'm going to do from today is I'm going to start to enjoy some of the benefits I'm getting from being 60 instead of 56.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move more weight in the gym. I'm going to hit new PBs. I'm going to be the strongest I've ever been. I'm going to have way more energy. I'm going to focus on those things because now I'm 60. But at 56, they wouldn't have been as good. So find positives out of being the heavier weight and make it count.
Yeah. More so a performance-based physique
and mindset
than an aesthetic-based physique.
For sure.
Mindset, yeah. Now, the other part of the question was, next time, should she be slower in her reverse?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've overshot, if the plan wasn't followed from an adherence perspective, or maybe the rate of gain was too fast, the planned rate of gain was too fast, then yeah, maybe you could slow it down. But don't do what people used to do. Remember when reverse dieting first ever came out, and it was like
50 calories a week?
Yeah, 50 calories. No, don't go so slow that you're pretty much taking.
You're just making a longer prep.
Yeah, you're 30 weeks reversing. Don't do it like that. You need to recover pretty quickly. But yeah, maybe there's, without knowing the data, maybe you could have slowed it down a little bit more.
Yeah, and you're probably going to get up to that. You were always going to get up to that weight anyway. So, like, don't beat yourself up about it. You would have been there anyway. Could it have come on a little bit slower? Maybe. You're probably going to end up in the same composition anyway.
Yeah.
Just try and find the silver lining and as I said, use it to your advantage now. It's like, all right, I'm going to be a beast at 60 now and, make some gains because, your body grows very, very well out of a prolonged dieting phase. It's been in starvation mode and you can acquire some good lean tissue gains if you train your fucking ass off. So,
yeah, 100%. I keep telling my partner that I think I'm dense because I weigh more than other people with the same body type. And he said that I'm trying to think that I'm special.
Great.
Would you consider a female fitness competitor who is stage lean, 58 kilos at 173 centimeters tall? Would you consider them dense? 58 kilos?
At 170 what?
173. It's pretty tall.
Yeah. So I can give you a couple of good examples. So let's use Chin Chin, perfect example, because I know her stats off the top of my head. So Chin Chin, when she won her pro card, was 48 at 162 centimeters.
Yeah.
If you looked at a photo of Chin Chin, you'd say, yeah, she looks pretty dense. So if you're 10 kilos heavier than Chin Chin and you're 10 centimeters taller, I'd say pretty fucking dense.
Well, I think of...
If condition was identical.
Yeah, I think of Amy, and she was those similar stats.
58 and...
She was lighter than 58, but she's that similar height. Maybe a little bit shorter.
Yeah. The one thing, Chin Chin's shorter, but...
Yeah.
But 10 kilos for 10 centimeters is a lot of density if conditioning is matched.
Yeah.
Let's think about some other competitors at like 173 going through like bikini sports.
Well, even I think about...
What was Mads?
I think about Bridget. Bridget's very tall.
Yeah.
Right? ICN Pro. And yeah, she was at 58 as well.
Yeah.
She was around...
Mads? That's fucking good. I know that's that.
Mads
would be in the 160s, right?
Height-wise?
Yes.
I'm not sure, can't remember.
Yeah, she'd be low 160s. She'd be similar to Chin Chin, I reckon.
I think her weight was like 52.
Yeah, and she's dense as fuck.
Oh, yeah. You don't get any dense than that.
Fuck, Mads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get Mads' height.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the perfect example. We're going to get Mads' height. Mads was around the 52 marker. There is no one denser.
Yeah.
So if you're 8 or 9 centimeters and you're 6 kilos heavier, you're also dense as fuck. So you can tell your partner, yes, you're special. Yes, you're dense. You are special and you are fucking dense. But conditioning has to be comparable.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We're talking about like...
So,
yeah.
But you said stage lean in the question. So if you're stage lean, it would be an interesting one. Lisa Jenner, who just won the pro card at...
Yeah.
She's a bit tall. I think she's in that 172, 173 marker.
It's hard to know when someone wears heels.
Yeah, I reckon Lisa's around 170-ish.
Yeah.
I'd be keen to see what Lisa's weight was. She was the best.
I'd be keen to know Marika's weight.
Oh, let's get Marika. Yeah, let's find out Marika's weight.
Yeah. Figure competitor. Lean.
Yeah, she's epic.
Dense.
She's epic. So I'll give you another example. So my client, Kristen, figure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, so she was about 55 kilos. So
figure lean, yeah.
Yeah, figure lean. So it's straight in glute. So
yeah. So yeah,
This is fun.
she's probably in the
All right,
ballpark.
so we want Mads' height, we want
Yeah.
Marika's height and weight, we want Lisa Jenner's height and weight.
Yeah. Actually, while we're talking about this, I know I spoke to you boys about this over messages. It was months and months and months ago about doing a rate my physique on the
Oh yeah,
podcast.
like a send in your thing and we'll give you
Yeah,
feedback. Yeah.
So if everyone wants us to do something like that, I've got a form. You can fill out your details, submit your photos, and we can make it completely anonymous if you want, right? Won't show your face or your name or anything. But we're happy to bring your photos up on the screen.
We could do like a separate potty on it alone.
Yeah, we could. Or we could just have it as one segment per potty. We just rate someone's physique.
Oh, one per episode.
Yeah, or
do you guys want that? Yeah.
Or two physiques or whatever. And just tell us, you got to tell us, what your stats are. There's going to be some questions in that form, what your stats are, where you're currently at in your phase, what your goal is, that kind of stuff. And then we can rate your physique in a way to give you feedback.
Yeah, constructively.
Yeah. The only thing is you've got to watch the screen.
Yeah,
so if you're listening on Spotify, look, the video's on Spotify.
Yeah, or YouTube.
Yeah, just if you're in your car or something, don't have an accident.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a good question. That's fine.
Yeah, it was good. What or who has helped you the most as a coach? What or who?
Oh, that's good.
Who?
I mean, the people around you really that you learn off. So, so for me, you and Scott,
Yep.
who are really, and me as well, very much from a nutritional standpoint in the early days as the who's, I think, what? Time?
I was going to say the same thing.
Shitloads of hours, hard work.
Just doing it, yeah.
Going, way above and beyond when I think about, the amount of effort I've been putting in to make sure that my athletes get everything that they need over a very, very long period of time, trialing things and fucking up, copping it on the chin, doing it back again and again and again and again, and just, refusing to kind of accept that, there's not a better way to do it. Just got the postie knocking on the door. So post this 1 second. All right, we're back. Postie was knocking on the window.
You got a delivery.
I got a delivery. But yeah, man, I think, finding someone, we've said this a million times on the potty. I feel like I'm repeating myself. Sorry to everybody who has to listen to me say it over again. But find people that are leading by example, doing great things, have systems in place that work. Rich did a great story or post the other day about, how a good coach is not just somebody who's getting results, but a good coach is someone who is getting the most out of athletes, regardless of what the outcome is on the actual day, and taking someone from here to here in a really great way, whilst that person enjoys the journey. That's freaking awesome. So find people like a Rich who are online and putting out great information, great content. And, if they put something out or they're doing a course or they're doing a seminar do as many of those things as you can. If there's people that are, industry leading and, have the proven track record that backs that up too, and they put something out and you can attend it. So
for me, the who is definitely you two boys.
Yeah.
But even before that, just foundational knowledge, trying to learn. Remember, back when we started, there was no...
Man, let's look at... You had magazines.
Correct. Yeah.
You were on books, internet forums.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that was high tech back then.
That's right. So I remember, and also back then, website articles was a big thing. You go on a website to read articles, or read blog posts. Now,
that's how I remember you telling me about heaps of pieces of information that for me was the first time I was hearing them were from you investigating blogs.
Yeah, and articles.
And just for anyone listening, it's a fucking long time ago. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
You haven't changed one bit, but
yeah, but
you still look the same. Me on the other. It's a different story, but
grown a beard. So people like Lyle McDonald, he had a great website called bodyrecomposition.com. Heaps of articles, he had a lot of books as well that you could download. Then you had Alan Aragon. He had a lot of books as well, a lot of articles, a lot of blog posts. Yeah, so there was a lot of foundational things, like some of Lane Norton stuff. Eric Helms, some of his stuff as well. So there's a lot of foundational things that I learned from those guys. But then the what is just doing. Just like a lot of doing, just a lot of putting things into practice and doing. You know, when some people come to us and say, "Oh, what's the best course I should do to just get the foundational knowledge and then just start coaching?"
For sure.
That's and then obviously try to get mentored by people that know more than you.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. The best way
I
to
fucking
start.
love this shit so much.
Yeah, yeah.
This is honestly the stuff that I love more than anything. My other like tips that are, you know, I wish I had told my younger self. Track as much as you can track. Like sometimes, you know, it might feel like it is a lot of data, but the amount you can pull from all that data, you get to a point, and this is where I feel I'm at with my coaching now, is when my athletes are adherent, I've got to, like, I can make a move and get the exact result I want because you know everything and you're not making unnecessary moves. You're certainly never guessing when you implement anything because you have it on a string, right? And the next thing is like, allow more time than you think you need in every instance.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you need somebody to get lean, allow a buffer. If you need somebody to grow, think it's going to take longer than it actually is, and you're always going to have your athlete in a better place.
100%.
That's the one thing I fucked up a lot in my early days is I never left myself enough time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, my planning wasn't as organized as it was now. Now, you know, I leave myself more than enough time. And that, I think, has been the biggest game changer for me, man. Also, if I'm with you or I'm with a Scott, and even at this level, we've been coaching for a decade, and Scotty's like, man, I had this athlete, I got them to go to bed on a low carbohydrate meal, wake up, run a faster cardio protocol. We sipped on some EAAs that are, and I'll implement that the next day.
Yeah.
And if I get a great result, I'll start running it. So if I hear something that I think is valuable and it's working, I'll put it into practice straight away. So like also be open to things that might work and be willing to implement those things. So not get caught up in like this is my way and I do it this way. If there's a better way, give it a go. Like it's not a dig at your ego or anything like that. It's like there might be a better way. And sometimes these better ways are fucking great.
You know what's so funny?
So,
as I was listening to you talk, I was like, is he going to come to the same conclusion that I want to say after you finish spinning it? And you said the exact same thing. I was just thinking about, if he doesn't say this, I'm going to say this. Don't think that you know everything.
For sure.
It's one of the most important things. And that's exactly what you came to. So I don't even need to repeat myself on that. But yeah, don't think that you know everything. And if someone has come to you with advice or something they've tried and you trust them, try it for yourself.
For sure.
Yeah.
Man, you know, behind the scenes, coaches like myself, MT, and coaches all over Australia, you know, we talk to each other on socials and we always share notes or like thoughts on this client and that client purely because we all like seeing, you know, the standard of bodybuilding get better.
So funny you said that because the next question was, do you ever get envious of other coaches' clients? No.
Man, this, like, people would know this from me because I don't hide my emotion. When I see another coach's athlete, like backstage or at a workshop and they're elite,
yeah,
I get so fucking excited because all that is doing to the sport is raising the standard of the sport. And I can't wait for the best people to stand on stages all across Australia. If I get to watch it and be part of it, and if it's from a coach that I know and respect,
mm-hmm.
I clap. I'm like,
yes,
man, you got, and us, there'll be coaches out there who would, you know, wouldn't say this is, I will come up to them and be like, you guys have done a fucking awesome job. Like what you guys have achieved, you should be so proud of yourself. Even if I had an athlete in that same lineup,
100%.
I'm not envious. I appreciate hard work.
Yeah.
So
I think one of
this is such an interesting question.
Yeah, one of the advantages, and we're in a great position because of NBA, is we get to see all of that backstage. We get to see all the wins that the coaches have,
For sure.
the emotions, the tears. How many tears did we see at nationals when people won their pro cards, things like that, and just being able to witness it, be really, really happy for them, and also give them feedback and just say, absolutely amazing job. We're not envious at all. We actually want to see everyone be really, really successful.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Like more than you would understand, man. Sometimes backstage at shows, like we've seen relationships between coaches and between athletes from different states who are best friends because they were backstage at a show. Like, and neither of I'll give an example, right? So at Nationals, there was Caitlin Anderson and Kira Lee from Brisbane.
Yeah.
So they're from different states, but they're like besties now because of what bodybuilding brought. Like, why would you be envious of that happening? It's just
Hundreds. And that's what we
such
said
a
in
cool
that,
thing.
when we said in that other episode. That's why it's so great to come to nationals, because you get to see everyone from around the country come together. It's an incredible vibe. So don't come to nationals because you want to just chase a title. Come to nationals because you want to chase an experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
As someone who has recently decided that they are going to compete in season C 26, what are some of the things that I can implement now to help me with my prep? So season C 26, they're most likely going to start prep around that March, April, depending on what they're doing, what their position they're in. So what can they do from now until March, April?
Yeah.
We would probably recommend don't do any fat loss dieting or no deficits.
Yeah.
Wait until that time. So just try to train as hard as you possibly can with intensity. Try to get as much out of your metabolism, as much out of your potential for muscle growth to put you in the best position. If there's anything that you need to do from like a habits perspective.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Like, make sure all your ducks are lined up in a row, and also start to get people around you aware of what the process
What's to come.
What's to come.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Set the expectation. That's really good.
Yeah.
I reckon from a nutritional standpoint, which you touched on, it's a habit thing, is if you're someone who say macro tracks, which is no issues at all, try and like you swap foods all the time. Try like doing 2 or 3 weeks of like eating virtually the same day of eating every day. I'm sure it's almost the same, but like see if you can sustain 3 or 4 weeks in your off season of the exact same food to the exact same 5 or 6 meals a day for 3 weeks. Because potentially, if you move to a meal plan system on your prep, it's not going to feel like such a shock. So that might be something that might be useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, what MT said about getting your friendship circle and your family to have an understanding about what's to come. Start bringing containers to family events if you haven't before. Like, get that out the way now. So by the time you get to prep in March, it's like, it's not even out of the norm now. That's
That's a good one.
Good.
The other one is posing.
Good point.
You probably want to be starting already. Yeah, if you're a year out, roughly.
Yeah.
A year or more, you want to start posing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a guy. Sorry, guys, but yeah.
Man, I want to use an example of that. Like I spoke about Luke, my new coach here.
Yeah.
So Luke's like mid-40s. He's a dad. Never competed before. Not natural as a poser. Man, he started a year out.
Yeah, good.
And like started with Donna. Lesson, went away, practice, like really practice.
Yeah.
Lesson, practice, more lesson. And I look at him now, like, fucking posing the house that he looks like a guy that's done 10 comps.
Awesome.
And he started more than a year out because he knew that this was going to be one of the most difficult parts of the process. And he's even exceeded my expectations of posing, man. Like,
that's awesome.
So you give yourself as much time with posing as possible. And if you're someone doing season C next year, me and MTL should start posing now.
Yeah, start posing.
Start posing now. And do winter, 26 too.
Yeah, if you're going to do 26 C, do winter. What are some of your favorite international coaches that you love to follow? Any international famous coaches that you follow?
Yeah, you and I love the same person. I fucking love Milos.
Oh, Milos. Oh, yeah.
I love Milos.
He does still coach, doesn't he? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
I love. So the reasons I love Milos.
Yeah.
He's a fucking diehard.
He's a diehard. So he's a. How old would he be in his 60s?
Yeah, so he's an IFBB bodybuilder from the 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Yeah.
But he's one of the biggest and most successful IFBB open / classic physique / men's physique coaches across the last 20 years.
Yeah.
He's a Yugoslavian American now.
Yes.
And he's just a bodybuilder's bodybuilder. He's in the trenches. He still does face to face. He's like, one of the kings of the intensifiers when it comes to training. But he's also a big believer in the fact that, yes, there's science, but none of that science is on bodybuilders. And his philosophies are relevant to what it takes to grow a 300-pound bodybuilder, not a gen pop person who did a study.
Yeah.
So I think, there's probably an element of both. But he also just tells it how it is.
He
So
does.
he was on a podcast last week. I don't know if you saw it, and he was basically just giving all the guys who did, let's say, the New York Pro. He wasn't the New York Pro, who came second, third, fourth, and fifth. Shit for not going and doing the next show in there. He's like, do you guys have fucking something better to do on a Saturday? Like, you're already stage lane. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
he's big about that. He's big about
for the sport.
You're a bodybuilder. You're professional.
Bodybuild.
So then bodybuild. Don't just do one show and that's it. You're a bodybuilder. Do bodybuilding. Right? So he's good. Listening to him on podcasts, I love how vocal he is, how strong-minded he is.
Yeah.
But then when someone challenges him and he'll take it back to me, he goes, "Oh, okay, maybe you're right."
That's what I love. He's got that level of humility too.
He does, yeah.
But he will call you out.
Yeah, like if you didn't know any better, he could make you believe anything.
Bro, I'll buy into his shit next time. I really do. But yeah, he's awesome. There's some people that, MT and I watch a lot, and we spoke about this on a previous one, not related to bodybuilding, like, Joe Rogan or a Theo Von, that,
sure, yeah.
They definitely add an element of joy to my life.
Yeah.
That I can enjoy, from Milos' point, bodybuilding on a different level.
Yeah.
And like a Theo, it just gives me a different perspective on life. Sometimes it makes me, sit back from the reality that we're in of always just working and grinding and just kind of smile and laugh, which I think you need things like that.
Definitely. Yeah, but I don't really follow any other famous or popular coaches, to be honest. Like Honey Rambod, obviously he's retired now, but I think he maybe has most Olympia wins.
For sure.
Yeah. He obviously finished coaching Chris Bumstead, the most recent
Derek as well, yeah,
Derek
and Hardy.
Yeah, so he's amazing. I think he's finished now. He has a podcast. Have you listened to his podcast?
I have a few times, yeah.
Good, yeah.
I've been listening to Jay Cutler's one a lot.
Oh yeah, his is good. It's almost like this. He's just sitting in a room.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, and he's just talking shit.
It's free flowing, and they get into quite a few good things. But those sort of podcasts that I like to listen to.
Yeah.
Okay. If you haven't looked at or seen any of Milos' stuff, go check out Milos.
Was he on Muscle Talks?
Yeah, Steve just had him on Muscle Talks.
Okay, cool. So
I think I'm episode 105. I think Milos is 107. Okay. And in between us is Beck from OPS.
Oh no way!
Yeah, I thought so.
So if anyone hasn't listened to Muscle Talks, yes. MG is on it.
Yeah, Steve with Steve.
I told you, I messaged you. Well, I saw you the day
at the airport.
I said, man, it's one of the best podcasts I've listened to.
Oh, really?
It was awesome. Like the way you spoke on it.
I really appreciate it.
Was amazing.
Thank you so much, man.
And just the dynamic with him as well.
Well, Steve's podcast is guest driven. Ours is, more questions and answers and topics and things like that, which is good. I think, both have a place. The good thing about Steve is he does his research. You saw he did a lot of investigative journalism into my past, and he does that with all of his guests. But I think 2 episodes before me, he had Brett Contreras.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he just had Milos on. So
he just had Milos.
I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to it. I didn't realize you had Beck on as well.
Yeah, Beck as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's good.
Beck was awesome. Beck, man, I'm not sure if Beck ends up hearing this, someone can forward it to her, but Beck from APS, that podcast, she is one of the most beautiful articulators of responses. And I really, in that episode, because I watched it, not listened to it, her love for the sport and her passion was oozing out, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
She's actually doing she's getting all the posing coaches together from around the country and like doing some kind of big.
Donna's got it. Was fucking great. It was like the best of the best.
Yeah, come together.
It's like a double-day seminar.
It's a weekend thing, right?
Of just the best posing coaches in the country.
That's awesome.
See, it doesn't always have to be about competition, man.
It doesn't.
It's like all that does is makes the industry and the sport better.
I know. Like she does.
No one niggling or giving each other shit. Just everyone is a great poser. Let's all get together and give the best information.
Yeah, and I think every posing coach has a
topic or
a slot or something like that.
How cool is that?
So good.
But she's also industry led with the way she did her the thing that we went to with her.
Oh, the expo.
The expo, like
vendor expo.
She takes a lot of
Yeah, she's awesome.
Forward steps from a business development perspective. I admire her for that. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So off topic, but that's where you're
that's where it went. Do you think the 3 of you have contributed to NBA's landscape in Australia? Also,
I think it was MBB, and I think it means natural bodybuilding.
Oh, is it?
What does it say?
NBA.
Say NBA. Do you think the 3 of you have contributed to the natural bodybuilding. Yeah, I
Oh,
think that's what it said in the
natural body. Okay. Do
in
you
the
think the
anonymous
three?
link.
The,
Yeah.
do you think the three of you have contributed to the natural bodybuilding landscape in Australia? Also, what about bad coaching practices? They seem to be less heard of in the last 18 months. I'm not too sure if they're asking that because maybe our content has helped stop
Probably.
some of the. Yeah, maybe.
Probably. I mean, the fact that they're
The fact that
in
we're
the same
together.
question, yeah.
Have we contributed? I hope so. I hope we have. That's one of the purposes of the podcast. Was to,
We started it for that reason.
for that reason, to give back and to give out good information that people wanted to listen to, and just try to help level up the sport. So
Yeah.
I hope we have done that.
Now, we've never monetized this podcast or tried to do anything with it. We easily could.
Yeah.
But we started it because it was all about information and giving back. And just knowing, I've got a lot of messages over the last 3 years, especially in the last 6 months, about how this potty's helped a lot of people make better decisions, have a better prep, kill cardio time on the stepper. Or so in that sense alone, I think we have. From like the stomping out bad coaching, I just think nowadays, with so much information available,
Yeah.
and people not wanting to end up on, say, this podcast, which we've only pulled out a couple of really terrible cases, but like, I think nowadays people are getting smarter and knowing that if they're getting protocols that are a little bit shady or iffy, that maybe people just aren't proceeding with coaches anymore. And I think the good coaches across the country are very stand out now. You know who they are, and people are probably inquiring with high quality coaches. And you know, the up and comers will also get there too, because if you follow the instructions we gave at the start about how to develop and get yourself mentored by the right people, it seems like things are definitely improving.
Yeah.
I still see some things that aren't great, but they're certainly not dangerous. They're just a poor way of doing things. And in a lot of instances, it's not because somebody's being lazy or somebody's, doing anything purposely bad. You just know what you know.
Yeah.
And if you've not gone through it over and over and over again, like me in the early days, you may not know there's a better way to do things. Yeah. But equally, if you've been doing that for 10 years, then you're a dickhead. It's on you you should have upskilled yourself by now.
Yeah.
But if you're a brand new coach and you're trying, that's not what we're talking about.
No, it's not what we're talking about.
If you look at the instance that we brought to life, this is of, it was of a decade-long coach. If you're still doing it after 10 years, that's an issue.
Yeah.
If you're learning, it's a different story.
I think the way coaches operate in their business has definitely leveled up, because most people are now using some kind of app or
for sure
shared document or shared spreadsheet with all their coaches, with all their athletes. Most of them are doing like a Loom check-in or some kind of voice recorded check-in and things like that. I think the business operation of most coaches have leveled up just because technology has gotten a lot better and a lot of people are doing the same. And I think that's what athletes and clients expect now.
Yeah.
So when I have a consult with someone and someone says, "Tell me about your check-in process," I'm like, "Well, it's kind of normal. It's what you would expect from every other coach. It's like, it's no different. Should be a Loom check-in. You should have something that you can input all your data. You can answer questions. You can track your progress. Like you should get a Loom recording at your check-in and review everything. Should be a spreadsheet of your plan. Like, it's all basic stuff that you expect every coach to do. We're not doing anything above and beyond what any coach should really be doing."
Yeah, I mean, I used to have my athletes text me their weight every morning, years and years and years ago too.
Yeah, well,
if somebody who was doing maybe what we're doing now back then had have picked up what I was doing, they might have been like, "Oh, look at this dickhead. He gets his athletes." But it was relevant to the time, like.
Of course. Plus, also too, is the amount of clientele that you had, it was probably manageable to get text messages.
For sure. Just with all I had was a one-page Excel with each client and what I was up to.
Yeah. Could you imagine if you tried to do that now?
I've got the best systems in place, and it's
still a fair bit. Yeah, it's still a fair bit. That's it. That's all the questions. That was good. Thank you for everyone that asked all your questions. Keep them coming. We absolutely love it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it too, and we'll see you in the next one.
Come on. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.